This video is proof that if you ask me enough times, I will cave in and play whatever games you guys ask me to. The one and only Hobo Ryan spent an entire year asking me to play this game during my live streams, and so I finally played Arkane Studios Prey. No reason to be scared, except for that. As always, spoiler warning, we're talking about everything, and all the footage you see today was taken from my live streams. I stream right here on YouTube, so come by and say hi. This is one of the most amazing games I've ever played, but at the same time, it makes me feel incredibly conflicted. It took me days to even start writing this script because I didn't know how I felt or what I even wanted to say, which is not normal for me. Cult of the Lamb, my last video, I couldn't wait to start writing my script and get that video out. But with Prey, I really needed some time to stew on everything I experienced. So let's get into it. Starting with the story, it is really engaging, fun, and heartbreaking. Not to mention, it has some of the best twists in any storytelling mediums. And that's what I want to start with today. Twist number 1, you're in a simulation. Everything you and Morgan see in the first 5 to 15 minutes of the game was all fake. The helicopter was fake, there was no city, it was all just this weird simulation put together by this organization called Transtar who has been monitoring you. Then, after everything goes wrong, you walk out into the main game and realize you've been in space this whole time. And maybe this wasn't a big deal to anyone who has watched the trailers, but I went in blind and this was just so cool. This made for one of the most memorable first half hours of a game I think I've ever played. And then, after fighting through all the nightmarish Typhon, robots, and the cold emptiness of space, you discover that that in itself was just a simulation and you were a Typhon the whole time who was reliving Morgan's memories, while Alex and a list of operators monitored you. Now, I got the escape ending first, and you hear the line,
"We failed. This isn't the one."
Start over.
"What do you mean? We failed, start over. Was this all in his head the whole time?" I swear, you guys, if this was in his head the whole time, I'm gonna be so mad. What do you mean, restart? So I had an idea it was coming, but I was still shook when I actually saw how it all played out. Especially the fact that Earth had already been infected, and everything I did meant nothing. This is why I feel so conflicted. There's only ever been one other game that's really made me think about its story like this before, and that would be The Medium. While it may not have been the best game ever made, its ending was so shocking and powerful that even now, 2 years after I beat the game, I'm still thinking about it. And I think I'm going to be in the same boat here with Prey. The characters are amazing. I loved most of them and despised some of them. But either way, this game made me feel something about all of its characters. And when I say all, I mean all. And here are a couple of examples. Every dead body you find aboard Talos 1 has a name associated with it. This makes the game feel more real. And there were several times when I encountered a dead body and my heart sank because I'd grown to know that specific character through audio logs, side quests, emails, or even a D&D campaign. Hell yeah.
Abby, I'm still in deep storage.
No!
You won't pick up. I hope you're safe.
No!
If things get bad, I'll jettison a data vault and
This
save
is
people
why-
on the home.
This is why you wanted me to come in here, isn't it, Hobo Ryan? So I could cry. It hurt recognizing a name above a dead character. Compare this to Dead Space, another game I played this year that I absolutely loved, but most of the dead bodies were more of a design choice to show that something bad happened there. And you don't really think about each individual corpse, but you do here on Talos 1. Another example would be this one guy who sent me on a quest to find his wife. Well, turns out she'd been killed and turned into a phantom. Not only that, but I found her in a guest suite with another named phantom, alluding to the fact that she died while having an affair. And I felt so heartbroken. And the game is filled with just so many moments like this. You could dedicate an entire video to the lives of the crew on Talos 1. Now let's talk about the gameplay. So I want to break this up into 3 sections: what I didn't like, what I loved and hated, and what I loved. So let's talk about what I didn't like first, because there's only a few things. The vents. It's really hard to get through them. A lot of the times I got caught on the edge and couldn't get through. This was really frustrating and almost got me killed a couple of times, which definitely ruined the immersion. Next, you can't switch weapons while reloading. This was extremely annoying in combat and again almost got me killed a couple of times. And lastly, the time slow ability. It was really fun to use, but at the same time I was playing on an Xbox controller and it was mapped to the typical aim button, LT, and I often found myself trying to aim down my gun's sights and slowing time, which sometimes helped, but a lot of the time I just ended up wasting resources, which you'd think I'd learn from my mistakes, but I ended up just getting more and more annoyed every time it happened. These are my biggest complaints, and with them being such small things, I think it just shows how solid this game is. Now, on to what I loved and hated, the power scaling. One moment you could feel like an untouchable god, and then the next like there was no possible way for you to survive whatever enemy got thrown at you next. Most of the time, just being honest, it was the latter. This is the pro strat, I'm telling you, run away like a coward, and cry a little bit, honestly. And I died, like, a lot. But man, when I could get fully stocked up with ammo, I felt on top of the world. And nothing will ever beat the moment of running into the nightmare after stocking up and finally being able to kill it. Oh, we got him! What the frick? Oh, we got him. The gunplay was okay. It doesn't necessarily feel the best to shoot your weapons, especially without the ability to aim down your sights. But at the same time, it doesn't feel awful either. It's pretty middle of the road. But where I think the game really shines is its arsenal. You have an absurd number of ways to deal with the Typhons, and I loved it. And of course, onto what I really loved, this is one of the best immersive sims out there. You can pretty much do whatever you want, when you want, and that is amazing. And the glue gun just makes getting around so fun. I thought I was so smart using it to create bridges until I went and watched some speedruns after I beat the game and realized I was not using it to its full potential. The skill tree is really in depth and I love that. I personally did a human neromod only run, but man, a few times I was super tempted to get some Typhon mods because I felt stuck and like it was my only option. But I stuck it out and I found other ways around it, and I love that the game made me feel so desperate, and yet I was still able to find a way out without giving in to that desperation. Talos 1 was designed really well. I loved getting to walk around and explore the ship, and it felt just open enough that I could explore and enjoy my time while not being so big it felt like there was any wasted space. Overall, a very solid gameplay experience. Now, this is a shorter video because I have a lot of mixed feelings about this game, because it had some of the best moments I've ever had in any game, but at the same time, I'm still left feeling so conflicted. I can't tell if this is going to be one of my favorite games of all time, or if I'll forget about it here in a month. I think I'm gonna really need at least one more playthrough just to get my thoughts together, especially now that I know how it ends. I'm so torn because there's so many different choices that can alter the ending of the game, and I love that, but at the same time, they're just things the operators talk about, which doesn't necessarily affect anything, It's such a cool twist that you were a Typhon the whole time, but at the same time I feel discouraged that I worked so hard to try and save as many people as I could and stop the Typhon from invading Earth, and it meant nothing, because it was just a simulation and the Typhon were already on Earth. Regardless of how I end up feeling about this game in the long run, this game really made me feel something while I was playing it, and now as I'm reviewing it. This conflict, I feel, is really a compliment to the team behind the game. It is a testament to the amazing world and story that they've built, and I think most people should at least play through this game once. Now, that's all for today, my friends, but I will be back as soon as Starfield launches. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Mother Goose out!